You can do almost everything right for 40 years. Save hard, max out the 401k, pay off the house, and still make one retirement mistake that quietly steals the best part of your life. It's not running out of money. For a lot of wealthy retirees, the real mistake is dying with too much of it untouched while putting off the things that actually mattered. A couple might have $1 million, $2 million, even more saved, and still hesitate over a $6,000 trip, a $12,000 home upgrade, or a few $100s a month for extra help. Then 5 years go by, their knees get worse, energy drops, one spouse gets sick, and suddenly the money is still there, but the window to enjoy it is smaller. That's the part most people never talk about, because wealthy retirees usually do not regret spending on the things that protect their health, preserve their independence, and buy back their time. What they regret is waiting too long to use money for the exact purpose they spent decades building it for. And in this video, I'm going to show you 7 things wealthy retirees spend money on without regret, why these purchases feel different from wasteful spending, and how to tell if you're still protecting your future or just hoarding comfort you may never use. Number 1. Healthcare and prevention. The first thing wealthy retirees should spend money on without regret is their health. Not because it's exciting, because everything else in retirement depends on it. Fidelity's 2025 estimate says a 65-year-old retiring today may need about $172,500 for health care costs in retirement, and that figure does not even include long-term care. Fidelity also says health care can account for roughly 15% of retirement expenses year after year. Now, here's the key difference. Regret spending is buying something flashy to impress other people. No regret spending is paying for the dental work, hearing aids, physical therapy, better specialists, better glasses, safer prescriptions, or faster treatment that lets you keep living your life. Imagine a retired couple in their late 60s with a $1.4 million portfolio. They hesitate over $7,500 for a procedure, higher quality hearing care, and follow-up therapy because it feels expensive. But because they delay, one spouse stops traveling, avoids restaurants because hearing becomes frustrating, and becomes less active. That $7,500 didn't just buy health care, it would have bought confidence, movement, energy, and connection. That is why wealthy retirees almost never regret spending to stay mobile, sharp, and independent. So if you're looking at your retirement budget and wondering where to loosen up first, start here. And the next one looks like a housing expense, but it's really an independence expense. Number 2. Home upgrades that make aging easier. A lot of people keep the home exactly as it is because the upgrades do not feel urgent yet. But the National Institute on Aging says aging in place often requires planning, support, and home changes to keep living safely and independently. And AARP gives very practical examples. A lever door handle may cost around $20 to $25. A step-free entrance might run about $1,000 to $4,000. A no-step shower can cost more than $1,000. Even simple non-slip upgrades can be inexpensive compared to the cost of a fall. Now think about that in retirement terms. A wealthy retiree may spend $15,000 to $40,000 on bathroom upgrades, better lighting, wider doorways, railings, flooring, or a first-floor setup. On paper, that can feel painful, but compare it to the cost of a bad fall, a rehab stay, or being forced to move before you're ready. This is why these upgrades rarely create regret. They preserve control, and control matters a lot in retirement. You may not care about granite countertops anymore, but you will care very much about whether you can walk into your own shower safely at age 65. That is money doing its job. If this is making sense so far, please show some love and support by hitting the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And let me know your opinion in the comment below. Number 3. Travel while health is still on your side. Retirees should spend money on traveling without regret. Not endless luxury travel just for the photo. Meaningful travel while they still have the energy to enjoy it. This is where many cautious retirees get stuck. They tell themselves they'll travel later after the market settles down, after one more year of growth, after one more big dividend check. But retirement does not only have a money timeline, it has a body timeline. According to the Transamerica Institute, travel is one of the biggest retirement dreams retirees have before they stop working. And Fidelity makes a similar point from the budget side. If you want an active retirement, especially one with travel, you need to budget for it directly because lifestyle choices can eat into savings just as much as market swings. Imagine you're 66, healthy, financially secure, and debating a $7,000 trip you've wanted to take for 15 years. You can afford it, but you keep delaying because spending the money feels uncomfortable. Fast forward 4 years. Maybe the money grew. Great. But now one knee is bad, your back hurts, and the trip is no longer the same trip. That's the cost people miss. Wealthy retirees do not usually regret the trip they took while they could walk the city, climb the stairs, or carry their own bag. They regret the trip they kept postponing until it became a smaller version of what it should have been. Now, before we get to the most important half of this video, here's the real shift. The happiest wealthy retirees are usually not spending to look rich. They're spending to reduce friction. And once you understand that, the next 4 things will make a lot more sense. Number 4. Buying back time and energy. The 4th thing retirees should spend money on without regret is convenience. This one sounds small. It isn't. House cleaning, yard work, grocery delivery, airport transfers, meal help, a handyman instead of climbing the ladder yourself. These are not lazy expenses. These are energy protection expenses. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that spending patterns change as Americans age. Transportation and some work-related costs tend to fall, while healthcare takes a bigger share of the budget over time. That matters because retirement is not just about dollars. It's about what your energy is worth. A retired couple with $1 million portfolio might spend $200 a month on cleaning, lawn help, and occasional delivery. That's $2,400 a year. A saver's brain says that's too much. But what are they buying? Less physical strain, fewer arguments, more free weekends, more time for grandkids, golf, volunteering, or simply resting. That is not waste of money. That is converting money into usable life. And wise retirees understand something important here. If a task drains your body, frustrates your marriage, or eats the hours you actually care about, paying for help can be one of the smartest uses of your money. And the next one may be the most emotional category on the entire list. Number 5. Make memories. The 5th thing retirees should spend money on without regret is shared experiences with family. Not endless rescuing, not writing checks every time an adult child makes a bad decision. I'm talking about intentional spending that creates memory, closeness, and time together. According to the Transamerica Institute, many retirees say many spending more time with family and friends was one of their retirement dreams, and 58% say they are now spending more time with family and friends in retirement. That tells you something. For a lot of retirees, money feels best when it strengthens relationships. A couple may spend $4,000 renting a beach house for the whole family for one long weekend, or they may pay for a granddaughter's flight home twice a year, or cover tickets for a national park trip with the grandkids. On paper, none of this increases net worth. But 5 or 10 years later, these are the stories people keep replaying, not the quarter point of portfolio growth they protected by saying no. Now, there is an important line here. Helping family financially becomes regret spending when it creates dependency, resentment, or chaos. But spending to gather people you love while everyone can still be there, that is a very different thing. Wealthy retirees often understand this late, and I think best memories are easier to build while parents are alive, while grandkids still want to travel with you, and while your calendar is still more open than your medical file. What's your opinion about it? I would love to hear from you. Number 6. Hobbies, purpose, and lifelong learning. The sixth thing that retirees should spend money on without regret is anything that gives their days structure, meaning, and interest. This could be golf, woodworking, painting, a music class, a community college course, a fishing trip, a garden setup, a better bike, a language course. A retirement without purpose can become surprisingly flat, even if the finances are excellent. The Transamerica Institute found that retirees prioritize enjoyment, health, and even lifelong learning in retirement. That matters more than people realize, because when you stop working, you do not just lose a paycheck. You lose structure, you lose routine, you lose the feeling that Tuesday has a shape to it. A wealthy retiree spends $3,000 to set up a woodworking corner in the garage. Another spends $1,800 a year on a golf membership. Another pays for classes, gear, and travel connected to birding or photography. A younger saver might call that indulgent. But if that spending gets you out of bed with energy, gets you around other people, keeps your mind active, and gives your week some rhythm, it is doing real work in your retirement. And that is why it doesn't feel regretful. It feels alive. Number 7. Paying for expert help. The seventh thing wealthy retirees spend money on without regret is good professional advice, tax planning, estate planning, Medicare guidance, withdrawal strategy, long-term care planning. Not because every advisor is great, and not because you need to hand over control, but because a single blind spot can cost far more than the fee. This is especially true if you have multiple accounts, a pension, rental income, required minimum distributions coming later, or adult children who may inherit a mess if you do not organize things now. The National Institute on Aging notes that older adults often end up using a mix of personal funds, government programs, and private financing tools as care needs change. That means the financial decisions do not usually stay simple forever. A retiree pays $2,500 or $5,000 for a strong tax and estate review. That feels annoying at first. But the review catches outdated beneficiaries, poor withdrawal order, missing powers of attorney, and a tax problem that would have cost much more later. That is money well spent. Wealthy retirees usually do not regret paying for clarity. They regret assuming they would figure it out later, because later is exactly when these issues become harder, more emotional, and more expensive. Don't let this be just another video you watched and forgot about by the morrow. Here's what I want you to do. First, make a simple list of the 7 categories we covered: health, home, travel, convenience, family experiences, hobbies or learning, professional advice. Then put one number next to each category. Not what you spent last year. What would meaningfully improve your life in that category over the next 12 months? Second, circle the category you keep delaying even though you can afford it. Third, ask yourself one honest question. Am I protecting my future or am I postponing my life? And fourth, if you're married, have this conversation together. Because one spouse is often ready to spend on quality of life, while the other is still stuck in pure accumulation mode. That gap matters. You do not need to become reckless. You do not need to start spending wildly. But if your plan is strong, your income is steady, and your essential needs are covered, then money should begin doing more than just sitting there looking safe. It should start making retirement feel better. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 categories would be easiest for you to spend on right now, and which one is hardest? I read all the comments, and your answer may help someone else realize they're not alone. And if you want to know about 6 mistakes retirees make after leaving work, that video is right here. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.